Remember the early days of the internet? It was supposed to be all about freedom, a new digital frontier where we, the people, held the power. But somewhere along the way, that dream got twisted into a reality of surveillance and control. So, how did we get here? Well, to figure that out, you have to understand one central and incredibly contradictory person.
And that brings us to Peter Thiel. He is, without a doubt, one of the architects of our digital world. But the big question, the one we're going to tackle, is what was his endgame? Was he trying to set us all free? Or has he been working to undermine the whole system from the inside? Is this guy a visionary? Or is he a villain?
And right here, this just lays it all out. The core conflict of his entire career. On one side, you've got the idealist, the celebrated libertarian who gave us PayPal and funded things like Facebook and Airbnb to connect the world. Then, you look at the other side, the realist, the guy building surveillance tools for the CIA, the FBI, and funding AI-powered weapons. It's like we're talking about two completely different people.
To really get how this happened, we've got to go back to the very beginning, to Thiel's original, powerful vision. See, for him, technology wasn't just about making a profit. It was a mission. It was about liberation.
And man, his rise was just meteoric. Think about it. He co-founds a company, pivots it into the game-changing service we all know is PayPal, sells it to eBay for a cool $1.5 billion, and then what does he do? Oh, just 2 years later makes one of the most legendary investments in Silicon Valley history, becoming the very first outside money in Facebook. Wild.
But here's the thing you have to understand, and this is from Thiel himself. PayPal wasn't just about making it easier to buy stuff on eBay. No. This was a full-blown ideological project. The goal was to create a new form of money that no government on Earth could tax, regulate, or control. This was basically crypto before crypto was even a thing.
So the big question is, how does the guy who wanted to weaken the state end up building its most powerful weapons? This is the major turning point. Some have called it his Straussian moment. A point where his public ideals might have been masking a totally different hidden agenda. It's the moment the liberator starts building the Leviathan.
Two world-shattering events seem to have changed everything for Thiel. First, 9/11 happened, and it revealed that the government was drowning in data but couldn't connect the dots. Then, boom, the 2008 financial crisis hits, and that very same government turns around and bails out the banks that caused the mess. For Thiel, this was all the proof he needed. The system was broken.
And his solution? Palantir. He had this aha moment. He realized that the same anti-fraud tech that powered PayPal, that uncanny ability to find tiny patterns in a massive sea of data, could be repurposed. It could be sold to the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA for mass surveillance.
And this is where things get really shocking. This leads to his most stunning public statement. In an essay in 2009, he just comes right out and says it. He no longer believes that freedom and democracy are compatible. Let that sink in for a second. In his eyes, democracy itself, the will of the people, had become an obstacle to progress and order.
So where do you go with a belief like that? Well, he found an intellectual home in this philosophy called the Dark Enlightenment. The core idea is basically this. Democracy is messy, it's chaotic, it's inefficient. The solution? Run a country like a corporation, with a single, all-powerful CEO monarch at the top.
With this new philosophy locked in, Thiel was done just writing essays and investing. He started using his massive fortune to actively try and reshape American politics into something that looked a lot more like his vision.
His shocking endorsement of Donald Trump in 2016, well, for Thiel, that wasn't about populism. It was a calculated bet. For him, Trump was a tool, a wrecking ball, really, a figure just chaotic enough to smash the democratic institutions that he now saw as the enemy of progress.
But he didn't just stop at backing a president. He started building politicians from the ground up. The story of J.D. Vance is basically a playbook. First, Thiel inspires him at Yale. Then he hires him and funds his ambitions. And finally, he uses his direct line to Trump to get Vance the key endorsement that launched his political career. It's a masterclass in manufacturing influence.
And if you want to understand the scale of that influence, just look at this number. $15 million. That's how much Thiel poured into a super PAC for Vance. That's more money than Vance's entire campaign managed to raise by itself. Thiel wasn't just supporting Vance. In many ways, he was the campaign.
This all brings us to the final and, frankly, the strangest chapter in Thiel's story.
This is where his anti-democratic politics and surveillance technology start to merge with a bizarre, almost apocalyptic theology.
You can see the shift plain as day just by looking at his investments. He moved from what you could call freedom tech, things like PayPal and Facebook that connect people, to control tech, companies like Palantir and Anduril that build AI-powered weapons and surveillance systems for the government.
And get this, he started giving these off-the-record lectures, arguing that a global anti-Christ figure is coming. This figure, he claims, will use progressive causes like fighting climate change and even charity as a cover to create a one-world government that stifles innovation and ushers in the end of the world.
But here's the ultimate irony. In a rare interview, he was directly confronted with it. The interviewer basically asked, hey, the all-powerful Antichrist you're afraid of, wouldn't he find the perfect tools for global control in the exact surveillance systems that you're building?
And his response? Silence. He was reportedly left speechless, red-faced, stuttering, with no answer at all. In that moment, the complex philosopher king was exposed, caught in his own profound contradiction.
So when you strip away all the shifting ideologies, the libertarianism, the authoritarianism, the apocalyptic theology, what's left? What's the one constant through it all? The argument is that it's a singular, unwavering desire for control.
Which leaves us all with one final, vital question. After this entire journey from liberator to kingmaker, is Peter Thiel building the technology and the political machine to save civilization from itself? Or is he simply trying to own it?